Oh, hey, what are you doing? Oh, you wanted to go outside for a hike? Me too. It's such a beautiful day. Yeah, it's a little windy and it's cloudy, but you can't beat it. It's so windy the mosquitoes can't even land on you. I haven't noticed a single one out flying around. You want to join me? All right. Well, this is the way I'm going. Come on along. Let's see what we can find while we're out here. Then there's this spot. Down right through there, there's a creek. You got this nice road through here, and then uphill. It looks like it's also mixed, but there's a lot of hard mast in there. And it's drier ground. It's fairly easy to see through once you get past this early spot, it looks like. You got river cane, whatnot. And I love coming across these guys out here. That dude right there is probably 8 to 10 inches across, easily that high. It's a good size crayfish up in there. Man, the creek's up. Came across these guys while I'm out here. Keep an eye on them. I feel like I should know this plant, but I'm lapsing. I can't think of what it is. This vetch just hanging out. Blooming over here with a salvia of some sort, some mint. And I saw some violets down in there. All sorts of stuff. So this is a really pretty walk. The different colored greens have been nice to see. All the new life. As the flowers emerged from a lot of these trees, they were also subtle shades of different. And that was really pretty to watch. But we're almost down here to the bridge. We'll let the dogs get some water. I'm going to turn around and head back. Hope you're enjoying your walk through the woods with me. I've been enjoying it, and so are the dogs. This red buckeye has been emerging and growing rapidly. I don't see any blooms getting ready to set, but it is getting there. I imagine they'll be here in no time flat. So one thing I've noticed has been blooming today, and it may have been blooming yesterday, I just didn't notice it when we were walking, are the swamp azaleas. They are super pretty. There's one across the creek over there that I just noticed that made me bring it up again. I saw them earlier, but I didn't film them. We were just walking and I wasn't thinking about sharing this with everybody, but now I'm like, there are people that would love to be outside and they don't have access to this. So why not bring them along and let them join virtually? So here we are, we're out walking. Got the dogs on a leash. They're walking together. And we're out here enjoying ourselves in Mother Nature. We're coming up on that bridge that I was talking about a minute ago. I'm gonna let these goofy dogs get something to drink. There's no shortage of water out here. It's been raining on us for about 2 days. A total of 1 day probably, but over the course of the last 2 days. And yeah. So I just came across this blooming red buckeye, and you can see the flowers here. These long tubular flowers are great for hummingbirds. They're going to be feeding on these as they migrate up here. So get ready to see ruby-throated hummingbirds in the Starkville area. Also butterflies will use this, but really pretty flower. There, now you can see kind of how they're elongated. And definitely made for a long tubular mouth to get into in order to feed. Here you'll see a whole bunch of these guys. Where there's one, there's many. And this will be a spot that'll get frequented by the ruby-throated hummingbird, which we have in this area, when they migrate back up here. And this is typically when we start to see them, when these plants start popping with their flowers. I imagine we'll be seeing trumpet creeper and crossvine blooming soon too. And here's the creek. I'd say it's up a good bit, considering we normally walk down on a sandbar over there that's like 4 feet underwater right now. But I'll walk them over to the edge of the water where it's not moving so fast and let them get a drink. And we're gonna head back. So these are fun plants. These are May apples, and they are in flower right now. And these May apples like to grow in clumps. See that there's a whole bunch of them here. They are not edible, so don't go eating them, but they do look really cool. These leaves are just crazy. Such a cool pattern for a leaf. Way to be unique, May apple. Man, this is great. Just came across a snack. This smilax, particularly the smilax bononox, is edible this time of year. These fresh green shoots can be eaten raw, or they could be sauteed. They kind of remind me of an asparagus flavor. The dogs don't really care for them, but a lot of wildlife likes to eat them. And I also like to eat them. So I've got the smilax. Yeah. Maybe another week and that wouldn't be nearly as delicious. It'd be a little more bitter, but those were nice and tender. Really delicious. I'm gonna look for some more. Ooh, I found a bunch. Some people think, man, why are you picking a plant that's got thorns on it to eat? Well, first off, the part that I'm picking is real tender, and the thorns are still soft, if they've even developed. You can see those little itty bitty guys. There's really nothing to them. At this stage in their life, they're still pretty flimsy. So I picked a few. And I eat a few. I'm getting some grub. We're over here by this creek. My dogs outside. I hope you can get outside like this. I know I sure enjoy it. Comment below where you like to go outside and what you like to look for when you're in the forest. So excited! Just found some pawpaw. There's a couple plants over here. It's great news. It's not going to be ready to produce much this year, but these subsequent years, it's be a nice little pawpaw patch down here by the creek. Aside from the shape of these leaves, they are really small now because they're brand new. The pawpaw plant, these leaves have a distinct scent to them. To some people they smell like green bell peppers, to others it smells like diesel fuel. But either way, this leaf has definitely got a strong odor to it. And I didn't even have to crush these, I just kind of rubbed my thumb across it. And I got close. And I could smell it. But these two are getting restless. We're about to tell this shagbark hickory. We'll see it another time. It's starting to leaf out right now as well. Really cool. Where this bark peels is also really cool. You can tell the difference between the shagbark and a white oak. The shagbark's bark peels vertically, whereas a white oak, Quercus alba, peels laterally, peels side to side. But anywho, we're going to leave the rest of this greenbrier for the forest for another time, and we're going to scoot on out of here. Muscadine grapevine. Just chilling. Taking over this elm. Muscadine grape taking over the elm. Anyway, dogs are like, why do you stop? Why can't you just walk? We're over here trying to walk. Why aren't you walking? See that over there by that tree? Let's see if I can point to it. That chewed up area. Same thing over here. Bet you can't guess what did that. Comment below if you think you know what chewed up the bottom of those trees. Also, why do you think they did it? Looks like we got a hypericum popping up. Love the way new oak leaves look as they grow and become less gentle. These flowering dogwoods are just beautiful. I love walking around and seeing just an explosion of white hanging out on the side, on the edge. The flowering dogwood sure does make a landscape pop in the spring. These large showy flowers really stand out amongst all the other trees in the spring. Not only because their height is more at our eye level, but also because they're so large. A lot of the other trees around here don't have this size of a flower. Man, there's a limb that came down in that ice storm that lasted a week down here. That was pretty big. I know there's been others that I've seen. There's one that's easy to stand out. There's some damage from the ice storm. Looks Some trees that just weren't quite strong enough for long enough to hold up all that ice. Well, it happens. There's a lot of others that made it. What can you say? The wind is really whipping. I don't know if you can hear it. Ah, looks like we got another casualty. This one looks like half the tree came down. It's up there. Bummer. That definitely has happened to a number of trees. We got another one that fell down that was dead already. It's been decaying while it was standing for some time. But fell just ahead of us, blocked the path. I moved it out of the way. That way, rolling down on a bike or using one of those carts to carry out an animal that's been harvested, they won't go around everything and make a bigger mess. Pretty good sized log. About like 10, 12 feet. And it's near an area that's quite frequented right up here. Isn't that beautiful? How open that is. All that white down there is a flowering dogwood. You can see it way back here. That's what I'm talking about. You get one of these in the forest on the edge, and it starts to bloom. Just pops. I mean, look at that beauty. She's just popping. We were just about out of here and I couldn't help myself. I found it. There's the swamp azalea. I'll give you a better or clearer image of the flowers. So this beauty also is fed upon and pollinated by butterflies and moths and the ruby-throated hummingbird. Right next to it, they got this crazy thing going on. You see that? It's the bud of this guy. That's what it's supposed to be looking like. And that's what it does look like. What is that? Huh. I want to say it's a type of hickory, but I can't support that right now with any firm evidence. It's very well maybe something else. I'll check it out later. Swamp azalea, hanging out. All right, so after some investigation, I have determined that this is also a swamp azalea. And I'm not sure if this was caused by a virus or by an insect. very well could be an insect with where it's at. Now that one little bud up there is actually producing like it should. And it's right here hanging out next to it. These guys got the same branching, same bark, same growth habits. And as they have some that are emerging in the same manner. So anyway, back to it. Little baby pine trees. Guys, thanks so much for joining me on my hike. I had such a good time with you. I found this dogwood and it is just in prime bloom. It's really remarkable. There's another one that's just off to the side as well. But anyway, thanks again for joining me. I hope you really enjoyed it. I look forward to doing more type things like this. We're going backpacking this weekend and we'll have a video from that trip as well. We're going to Sipsey Wilderness area, a really cool spot, especially after a storm when it's been rainy. Waterfalls are going to be pretty exquisite. They're really going to be flowing hard. The river will be up, so we won't be crossing it, at least not crossing it through it. We'll probably go over a bridge. Anyway, we are just about at the end of our trip, and the dogs are ready to finish strong. So thanks for hanging out, and we look forward to hanging out next time. If you enjoyed this and you want to see more of them, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. It's down below. I'll leave a little box here, and if you hit the little notification bell up at the top, it'll remind you whenever there's a new video or notify you, and that way you'll be up to date on the outgoings of the outdoors with me. Thanks again.